And we are trying our best to get through the live stream. Once again, we're going to start exactly where we left off here, looking at the X-ray flares. We see a dip here in the magnetometer, pretty much a consensus low level. And this thing is barely functional. We got nothing but crashes and errors and software that does not work. So I'm going to try to make it through the stream. And here we go again. The browser's crashing, and this is Google's fault. Google, fix your goddamn software, as it is crap. The Brave browser is better than any of the nonsense that you've built, Google. So see it in my face, folks. See it in my face. Google software is the worst software ever written. It doesn't work. You can clearly see it doesn't work. I can't even turn the camera on, or can I? I don't even know. It's all garbage. It's all garbage. Gonna attempt to make it through the live stream by opening all of my tabs once again, by closing down Epic Pen, as screen draw over software can screw up your system. Not as bad as Google can screw up your system. KP index is at 2. Electron flux is on the uptick, it appears. Charging hazards are non-existent. And the F2 layer is looking a little bit anomalous, especially on the nighttime side. And there you have that. We are very much wondering if this live stream will work. We thank you for your patience, and we assure you that none of these failures are our fault. Here's the Aurora Borealis forecast, and here's the Aurora Australis forecast, and they're a little heightened because of the increased solar wind density. Let's look at the GOES X-ray imager on Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard, as it looks like our live stream has resumed. And it is in 2 different places, thanks to software failures. This is not caused by low memory. Wait for the solar flare. Here it comes. And there's the C-class flare that just occurred right there at the end of the video. And let's move on to more stuff before we get thrown off of the internet entirely. Here's the gong too. I would note that there are major changes in the total field strength here associated with those sunspots. As you can see, the green portion being pulled back by those sunspots, which are north of the solar equator. This data 1 hour and 22 minutes old. Let's go to Solar Ham next. And when I say next, I mean again, to see the breakdown of sunspots 2741, which is still alpha class, and sunspot 2740, which is beta class, and probably going to be reduced to alpha class throughout the day, as I believe only this tiny umbra here is what's giving it the beta classification. So solar activity has dipped again. The 10.7 centimeter radial flux is back down to 75 from 79 yesterday. Here's a location of your planets. And here's where they'll be 1 week from now. Next, we're going to look at Stereo A Core 2 Space Weather Beacon and show you that we don't see a coronal mass ejection associated with that solar flare yet. Here's the latest data. It's not going to show you anything, but I'm going to play it anyway, just because I like you. So here's the last few hours here. We don't even see the solar flare on there. So no apparent ejecta, although keep an eye on this throughout the day. Stereo A Core 2 Space Weather Beacon on the Integrated Space Weather Analysis Center. Here's a location of your stars. If you get up before dawn, check out the ecliptic. You may see Jupiter and Saturn. Next, we're going to look at magnetosphere movies. We're going to look at the pressure and the density and the velocity, and we're going to sit here with our fingers crossed and hope that this doesn't crash the system again. So here's a velocity, and don't be surprised if this live stream ends while I'm trying to stream this. Now this is our data archiving section. We include this 4 hours of data every day because you can't access the data after it's been posted. So here's a density, and we see a very high density noted by the dark blue colors. Don't confuse the white with the blue on the density image, folks. The white means low density. And we are talking about protons. Protons. Here's the pressure, and we see a much higher pressure and a much more equilibrated pressure than we did yesterday. We'll let that play through. If it decides to play all the way through and not screw us over with more nonsense. As our live streams have been getting cut off every day. It's not because of the memory, folks. It's because these browsers, Google Chrome, that is, are designed to intentionally conflict with other browsers and crash them. You see, Google doesn't want you to use Brave browser, which doesn't spy on you because it hurts their bottom line, because their whole business model is crap. Software manufacturers are supposed to be able to write software that works. And that is the failure of Google, folks. That is the failure of Google. Here's the ground magnetic perturbations at the poles. There's 4 hours of data on that too. Don't say we never gave you nothing on this channel. And don't say we ever reached 1,400 subscribers, because we haven't. And no, I don't consider 1,400 subscribers any kind of a relevant milestone. Here are your magnetic perturbations on the global scale. We see larger perturbations here in the Canadian pole than we do in the Siberian pole. If you weren't aware, there are two. And we see the South Pole continuing to migrate into the Indian Ocean, west of Australia. We're going to skip cosmic rays, we're going to skip zooniverse.org, and we're going to not pull our hair out by the roots as we go to another horribly written software site, Facebook.com. Yes, Facebook.com. Transcribe this, Google. Dear Google, comma, your software sucks, period. Dear Facebook, comma, your software is even worse. But visit us on Facebook anyway, if you like. Facebook.com/smAsho. Will it crash your PC? Who knows? But I've got opinions about their algorithms, and I'm not a fan. In other news, Facebook is full of douchebags. If you want any custom memes, email me also at smashomash@gmail.com. We'll consider making you custom memes. Also check out Twitter, twitter.com/smashomash. And while I don't tweet, smAsho staff does put our videos up, so you can share them with folks that only use Twitter. And for those folks, we feel sorry for you. Also check us out on Instagram.com/smashomash. Here's yesterday's cycling shenanigans.
And another ride complete, and another wheel resurrected. Like a boss. Beware the tiger bite.
So not a lot of space weather going on in there, but you know, we try to have fun. Try to mix it up, have fun, enhance our sponsorship. Check us out on minds.com/smashomash. Also, minds.com, they won't censor you. They won't shadow ban you. You might even get paid crypto based on your uploads and so on, your content, your views. If you appreciate the music on the channel, which we've largely curtailed today, check out the SoundCloud page. Links in the description. Also the soundclick.com page, soundclick.com/goldencatproductions. It's an original indie label, and our music is better than a lot of the stuff you'll hear on the radio. Let's look at earthquakes via usgs.com, .org, .gov, whatever. We see a 4.7 in Indonesia. We see a 5.8 in Peru, largest quake in South America for quite a while. We see a 5.0 of Vanuatu. We see a 4.1 of Tanzania. We see a 4.4 of Japan. We see a 4.4 of Japan. Both of those at depth. We see a 5.0 of Papua New Guinea. 4.1 in Mexico. We see a 4.5 in the Fiji Islands, south of the Fiji Islands, at over 500 kilometers depth. Here's a 4.3 at Alaska. And what do we have here? A 2.6 at Farragut, Tennessee. Check it out. There is the location. And I didn't like that map. There's the location. Close to Knoxville. Shout out Knoxville. Let us know if you felt the quake. Let's move on to volcanoes. Actually, let's look at pressure maps. Actually, let's curtail that and just move on to volcanoes, like I said. Here's a rundown for today. We got Shivaluch producing a 15,000-foot plume. We got Fuego possibly emitting. We got Revenador. Emissions continue. And Sabancaya uptick there at a 28,000-foot plume, but an overall downtick. Less volcanoes on the list for today. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar, and we see lots of snow falling over Colorado and Minnesota once again. Let us know if you are late planting your crops, as Louisiana and Arkansas and the Texas stovepipe get hit again by severe thunderstorms, heavy rain, etc., etc. Big time lightning coming down. Shout out to Shreveport, Louisiana, getting lightninged. And Ruston, you are in the crosshairs as some thunder is already rolling in. Here's a water vapor map. Let's play the whole image here. And then we'll zoom in. Here's a water vapor. If you're wondering when that rain or snow or whatever is going to stop and get pushed out by whatever forces are pushing it out, there's a situation there. We're seeing a compression here where the dry mass of air meets the wet air. That's going to stagnate for quite a while, folks. You're in a parentheses of massive air, which is going to hold those systems in place. Let's zoom in on this area here, as it looks quite violent. And we see Hall current streamers all over the place. If you're not familiar with Hall currents, just look up Birkeland currents and read the Wikipedia page. All those perpendicular lines there, folks, that's all electrical phenomenon in the atmosphere. We see some major cloud nucleation happening there. So this whole area is going to be hit for several hours, as this thing can't even figure out which way to rotate. Usually systems in the northern hemisphere, low pressures rotate counterclockwise, and this thing can't even do that because there's too much activity going on. Here's the National Weather Service, and all those blue areas, by the way, those are frost advisories. These are freeze warnings. We've got winter weather advisories. Spring is not here yet, folks. You want to talk about a late spring 2 years in a row? Let us know in the comments if you are delayed in your plantings. And let us know if it's cold, if it's hot. Speaking of hot, global warming update. We see a whole bunch of snow over on top of Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, eastern Canada. And if you're worried about Greenland melting, 185.2 inches of snow there, and there, and there, and there, and there, which means that's off the scale. Over 9 feet of snow coast to coast on Greenland. Next, I would refer you to Mr. Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont. I'd like to read a quote from him. At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or of 18 different pairs of sneakers when children are hungry in this country. Yeah, you heard that right. Bernie's worried about how many choices we have for underarm spray deodorants. He thinks there are 23. Can anybody verify that? Or of 18 pairs of sneakers. So he's never been to a Foot Locker or a drugstore. And when it comes to underarm spray deodorant, economics, the role of government, socialism, sneakers, and nearly everything else Bernie Sanders talks about, we need a lot more than deodorant. And that's because Bernie's ideas stink. Because he's stupid. And so I say to you, de oppresso liber, which means from the oppressed, the free. Let's look at some more images of the sun here and close this thing out before I start breaking things. Here's a 171 angstroms view. And this is my personal favorite. As it's so bright and sunny, this is about 8 hours and 45 minutes of solar activity. And I'm going to respond to the chat now and play a track. Thank you for tuning in, Skippy and Terrence and Lucy. Glad to hear everybody is doing okay. Terrence, you want to know the current Arctic ice conditions? Well, I can help you with that. You want to go to polarportal.dk. If you search for sea ice thickness and volume, there you go. There's the data. There's the data. The Arctic is not melting, folks, and neither is Greenland. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks donors especially. Thanks for subscribing. Please help us to reach 1,400 subscribers. As they're throwing every possible obstacle that they can in front of us, and we are smashing them, jumping them, burrowing under them, and doing everything else to thwart their shadow bans. So anyway, I'm going to let this track play. It's almost over. And at that point, we're going to close this thing out. Go out and do something you stink at today, folks. Learn a new skill. If you're a lousy gardener, go plant something. If you're a lousy cyclist, go ride a bike. If you're a lousy hiker, go on a hike. Get out of your comfort zone, folks. Get out of your comfort zone. It's the only way you grow. And since stagnation is death, don't die. Yeah, that's right. Don't die. Be an asset, not a liability, especially in the event of a disaster. So anyway, folks, we are out of here. It's been real. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun. So thanks again for tuning in. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.